Well, hello everyone, welcome. Today we're going to talk about charities. So, the sad thing about charities is that it's a trust thing, just like people. Just like people, investing into a charity is trust. And probably needless to say, this also, involves the whole situation with Jared, the completionist, the guy who does it all, so they say. Okay, now I want to put, like, I don't know Jared. I've watched some of his content. I'm not a big watcher of all of his content, but I've never personally had any problem with him, really. Though I did think it was weird he got on G4, though. That I will have probably scrubbed the fuck out of my resume. But, I never personally had a personal beef with the guy. I mean, come on. Like, even with the G4 thing, if you had the opportunity to get on fucking television, do video game stuff, I mean, even if the people were really, really awful, I can't really say I wouldn't consider the idea just a smidge. Just a smidge. Though, considering the people on there and in my opinions on a lot of things, I probably would go with no still, though. But, anyway. This is the real topic here for me is charity and trust. Charity fraud is not anything new, and I do want to say all this stuff is alleged. I do have my personal opinions, and I'm not going to throw my personal opinions really out there that much, other than the one thing that is truly the big concern when it regards to Gerard is the fact that he said the money was going somewhere, and then his new response video was basically making it sound like allegedly the whole plan was to save it up and then do a big donation to avoid it being spent in ways they didn't want. Now, I can understand that to a certain degree. You want the money to go towards an actual good cause, not people's paychecks and stuff. Like, I can understand that to a point. But I do think, just as other people have pointed out in that regards, that letting the audience and the people making the donations should know, should decide whether they're okay or not, and go with that. Like, it should have been knowledgeable years ago, but instead it wasn't. Now, Gerard will likely make another video, even though he said the video he made is his only response on the whole thing. And to be honest, considering the parts of the podcast thing that, or I should say call, not podcast, the call that Muha and Carl did with the Completionist, really contract a lot towards the response video he made. And honestly, I feel like that whole thing was a horrible legal nightmare that he did. And I'm sure if he is actually considering suing Mudahara and Carl, it will be the detriment of his case, I really think. I don't think it also was wise for him to actually basically threaten them, even though I can understand he's not happy with what they did. Nobody let's be honest. Nobody likes their tail being caught between the door on things. I am like, nobody's gonna really like that. As people say, it takes more of a man to actually stand up, recognize what you did wrong, and go with it versus, just trying to hide everything in it. It is human nature to try and be the one who's correct. That is human nature, and I'm not gonna deny that kind of thing of that. But the sad truth here is, yeah, he got his tail caught between the door and that. But and this has shooken up a lot of opinions on charities, and I've expressed a few times my opinion on charities. And to be honest, I'm not very trusting of charities. That's not to say I don't give the charity, but I'm not very trusting of a lot of charities. A lot of charities have became very business-like. They became very business-like. And obviously, when you're doing a business, income, paying people and stuff comes up. And that's just the kind of sad truth of most charities. They do have expenses and things and people that get paid and stuff. Places like Goodwill and stuff have a whole corporate system to, on top of doing all the charity in it. And that's just the kind of sad thing when it comes to charity. You don't find a lot of charities that don't have some degree of corporatism into them and that. And that's just kind of the thing. And like I said, with Jared, the completionist, like I can totally understand wanting to have your money go to the actual thing you want. Now, of course, we're at the phase where we're not 100% sure whether he's being honest on that. And again, allegedly. I'm not an expert on this. A lot of people are talking about this and an expert on this. And there's still information to be put out. Each person keeps putting out more information. I am the type of person that you're guilty when you go to court and you're proven guilty. Now, do I have, like I said, my opinions and sides and who I think is likely more right and wrong and such? Yes, of course I do. Of course I do. But I like to think I'm a little bit more professional to try and not have my bias completely overtake the fact. Because, I mean, I'll be fair. We all make mistakes. And when, like, that happened to Gerard, poor Jared, the other Gerard, the course of Gerards. I was like, oh, wait, I need to call him by his YouTube name because, we're dealing with Gerard as well. But, poor Jared. Oh, wait. No, wait. It wasn't just... Wait. Okay, anyway. Anyway, so, poor Jared. Poor Jared. So when Jared had his controversy thing with cheating with his wife and that, a lot of people just flooded to his wife's side. And he remained quiet. Now, I don't agree with remaining 100% quiet. I think at minimum you should just be like, I'm in talk with my lawyers and I can't talk right now. Please be patient for my statement. I think that's fine, personally. I don't know, maybe lawyers just don't think that's a good idea. I think that's a good idea to do that. Because I understand, you want to gather evidence and stuff. You want to get all that to go. And Jared did do that. He gathered all the evidence, the receipts, and he bonked that whole shit. He bonked all that shit, showed shit his wife fucking didn't show. Like, she did very selective choices of things and that. And he debunked that. Now, that didn't make everything Jared did pro Jared did completely okay. I mean, the whole sexing thing was, still kind of, I mean, I'm not trying to judge here, but I'm just saying that seems kind of weird for a very public figure, But the allegations of him, doing things with young children and stuff that all got debunked and shit and stuff. And, that got cleared up. It took a while and stuff. So I am still giving the completionist some benefit of the doubt. But yeah, it's not looking good for him. I'll be fair on that. The stuff that's out there right now is not looking in his favor at all. And, I mean, immediately, he has tons of statements saying the money goes to places, and then, there's his reply. So, like I said, that's kind of his biggest legal concern right now at this point, because that's the thing that I personally think is going to snag him the most out of it. But, yeah, I don't think it's good for him. But a lot of people talking about distrusting fundraisers and things. I think the important thing to do when you do a charity, when you're going to donate to charity, is if you have a problem with how they're going to spend or use the earnings they make from it, like, if you give stuff to Goodwill and they make money off that and how they spend that money, or if you just give straight cash to somebody, you're concerned how that's going to work out exactly. You need to do research, sadly. It's like a lot of things. You have to do research on how it's being done if you want to be that picky. And I think that was honestly part of the completionist Jared's problem. Because I feel like when they started this, they didn't really understand how the fundraiser they were doing worked exactly. And I think they realized they didn't like how the money was going to go, but I don't think they thought the idea of allegedly these ain't facts here, but they either didn't like how it would be potentially spent if they didn't do a large sum, or if potentially just all slipped out of control. It's hard to say because he claimed in his Discord call that he didn't find out about any of this stuff until last year. Whether that's true or not, it's really hard to know what's really true in all this, because that's probably the biggest problem in all this. We don't know 100% facts. His reply didn't offer a crap ton of things to back stuff like that. It just was a bunch of other legal documents. Very few of it had little to do with the main conversation. It just it looked like more like trying to look very like kind of professional kind of looking at that. But yeah, when you do the comparison game, it's kind of concerning, honestly, in his ball court on that. Now, me, when I do charities, I like doing charities with smaller places myself. That's just personally me, because I feel like a lot of corporations have the problem that the Completionist had, that the money is going to get spent in varying other ways that you might not necessarily want the money to be spent. Because, I mean, let's be fair. I don't want charity money to go to some CEO's paycheck or their employees and shit. Understandably, like when you're running places like Goodwill and stuff, you have that to deal with. And that should come out of like some of the earnings that you do in that system. But when it comes to like, I feel bad when when you're giving cash away to charities and that gets spent that way. I mean, realistically, it has to come from somewhere. There are expenses, obviously, the bigger the operation, as both parties have said. It's normal to have costs, and those costs have to be covered. But, yeah, I mean, like, when you give money to a charity, I'm sure you're not thinking it's going to go to some CEO or employee's paycheck. You're hoping it goes to an actual cause of helping battered women, homeless, starving children, people who need medical help. That's the kind of thing you hope it goes to that way. At least that's what I would like to think most of us do that. So I mean, I can understand that. But at the same time, it has to come from somewhere too, because when you're a giant corporation, the employees and that need paid and shit, and it's just a sad thing. It's going to come from somewhere. So if you don't like how the money is being spent, you need to research, understand how they send their money, send questions, send emails. They want your money, then they'll answer, right? But I like sticking to the more smaller things and stuff. But stuff like what the Completionist did, because, you could argue for at least several years it was smaller before it became much bigger like it was. There can be scams and problems in any charity, small or big. Whether the Completionist is telling the truth or whether he's lying, whether there's honest mistakes or there was actual criminal activity on purpose, meant for criminal activity. It will take time for us to get the full picture of everything, and it will likely take going to court for that. But yeah, I do understand it doesn't look good for him. No, it does not look good for him at all. But I hope people will take this kind of lesson to understand that you should do research of charities you want to give charity to. A lot of them are corporations, and a lot of them do put the money to varying things, and not simply the supposed thing they do. It is important to understand that. Because money, doesn't grow on trees. It might be made from trees, but it doesn't grow on trees. And it certainly doesn't spit out of them that. So, it's best to just find the places that do the money the way you do. But when it comes to the Completionist, I feel like this is going to be a story for a few months. It'll be similar to Pro Jared, where it will likely take a while to get the full picture of both sides. Again, it's not looking good for the completionist. So, but I'm leaving space that there's the possibility something might still come up. Something still might come out that in his favor. I mean, weirder things have happened. I mean, fucking Darkside Phil got rid of all his fucking debt when literally fucking no one thought he had any chance of fucking doing bankruptcy. He literally did it. No one, even a lawyer, had no faith in him fucking doing it, and he did it. So, you know, weirder things have happened. Now, like I said, I'm leaving the ultimate judgment to the courts, obviously. I have my personal opinions again. I think it's pretty clear to understand what my opinion is, but I'm still leaving space for both parties to be able to, you know, make the arguments in their favor of what's going on. But yeah, I do agree that I don't think it was a smart idea for the completionist in his video to basically make like a legal threat in that regard. I think it would have been a smarter option to keep talking to the parties, keep talking to everyone. Like, I think like suing someone, especially for something like this, I think should be like a last step. Like, you should talk to each other, be like, you know, I want to give good faith and let you, like, clear this up. Let's talk about this. Can we clear this up or that? Like, I think... I'm not saying that defamation laws have no place. I mean, clearly there's shit like what the newscasters have done where they've just... Like, the recent thing that happened to that kid with Indian shit. Like, stuff like that is fucking a joke, an insult, and all the media places that did shit like that should feel ashamed of their existence. That's not journalism. That's a joke. Like, defamation laws do have a place, but, like, I feel like what's going on is not to that point. Like, people just want the investigation and know what the fuck happened to the money and what's going on, why it hasn't been donated. Because all you fucking things keep saying you're donating it and it hasn't, you know? It's just, like, I just don't get it myself in that regard. But, yeah, I don't think things are looking good for him. They're not looking good for him. But I just hope it doesn't really ruin people's wanting to give charity. I know it's really hard to trust people in life these days. People are quick to want to use you nowadays. They're quick to want to take you for your money, whatever value and things you can give them, be it money, items, possessions, fame, or use you to become popular or something, you know? There's people like that, sadly, you know? I actually had to deal with someone with the latter of wanting, like, popularity here in VR chat, actually, with a friend of mine. They were obsessed with wanting to, like, do content with people. And it was with people who had, like, you know, at least bigger followings than they did. And it really came clear they just liked using people to try and get fame, to be, like, they view that as a big valuable thing in life. And of course, he's the one who lost all his friends and everything. Like, he's gotten kicked out of, like, 5 different groups of things here in VR chat. And lost all his friends he knew in all of them. So, you know, you tell me who came away with the valuables and that. Like, who lost, who won, and that kind of thing. I don't know. That's, you be the judge of that. You judge that. But, I know trust is a continuing harding thing. Like, you know, with, like, hell, even with, like, limited companies. Like, you know, we have 2 limited one companies that have did really shady shit. Like, one that purely ran out with all the money, and then one that ran out of money and is in this limbo of trying to somehow get these games they actually do have in the hands of the people that paid for them with really no employees and shit. Like, trust is hard, and like, a lot of places are just glad to run off with your money. That happened to me with the indie box. The indie box, for anyone who remembers a lot of really old pickup videos, you know, they made physical PC games. which was cool. Very nice. I supported that. I liked it that they were DRM free. A lot of them came on discs, and a lot of the later ones started coming on USB drives. But they had the subscription model and stuff, and that was a part of that. And what was nice is if you locked in your subscription model in the early stage, the price never went up for you. So as the price went up, I stayed locked in at the OG price yearly renewal. But they shut down their operation. I don't remember the exact year. It's been quite a while. But they shut down their operation, and basically everyone who was a subscriber, basically you were given an email, and you were said basically you had to request a refund or spend the money on anything that was in the store, and if you didn't reply after a certain amount of time, you were fucked. Fuck you. Fuck you. And that pissed me off because I didn't get to see that email because I was doing overtime, and the time went out, and I was like, what the fuck? What? And I even tried talking to them. They're like, nope, fuck you. Nah, thanks for the money, fuck you, ha 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 ha. And of course, ever since I've talked pretty ill about them because they stole my money. I don't give a shit. You should have gave the money back to everyone who was a subscriber with money still. If they didn't reply, you should have just gave it back. If they replied saying they wanted to buy shit off the store, that's fine. But if they never replied back, it should have been your responsibility to give that fucking money back to the people. Fucking wobbles. Thieves. Fucking thieves. So, but to be fair, over time I just kind of just like, it's lost. You know, I had the really cheaper price. They were tie in existence, so in a way, I just kind of considered it like broke even. I don't even remember how many months I had. I think I had like 5-some months of that. So I mean, it wasn't in the world, but still, it was just. It kind of pissed me off because it's like you shouldn't have to fucking request a refund for something you paid money. It's really shitty. A lot of these companies and shit do shit like this, you know. But anyway, I didn't mean this to be a giant rant about like limited companies, but I just meant it to be a kind of an example of trust. Like, you're not going to have all the facts and stuff. It's very unlikely you're never going to get all the information you need to make a complete judgment on something. But that shouldn't stop you from doing research to understanding who you're giving money to and that. Do some research, understand who you're giving money to, and see who you feel like is going to be the good people to give money for the causes you want to do in that. It's just sadly how it is. I mean, it sucks to have to sit there and be like, should I consider these people good? Because, I mean, like I said, there are cases where some chunks of this money go to paying for corporation shit. It's became its own business over time. Like, you know, it's not the old days where you just had old granny on the street corner getting money and then giving it to the hospital nearby, you know. Like, it's became a huge business, and it's only gotten bigger as years and years have gone on, and it's just, it's really hard to trust, you know. I mean, I'd hate to really bring this up, but, you know, with like fundraisers that like the whole Black Lives Matter movement did, and then you had that one family that bought a bunch of fucking houses and gave shit tons of money, hot jobs to people in their own personal family and gave them shit tons of money in that. Like, is it no wonder a lot of people don't have a lot of faith when a little teeny bit of concern comes up like this? I mean, it's been almost 10 years of him gathering this money. Of course people are going to look at it suspicious when you have shit like that happen. Like, you know, that was a high profile like thing, regardless of your opinions of Black Lives Matter, political, you know, Democrat, Republican shit, you know, regardless of all that shit, that was a high profile fundraiser and shit, and that happened. A family that was in high control of all the funds fucking bought a house, gave shit tons of money to family members and shit. Like, oh, Uncle Jerry can be the security guard. Give him 20 mil. I don't remember the direct family tree. I remember there was somebody in the family that just happened to be the security person, got a lot of some money and shit, Like, shit like that happens, and you ruin faith in good faith. Like, that's the sad thing. When you do something, there will always be people who want to abuse it and profit off of it. And there's good and bad ways of doing that. Like, for example, for me, like, I will, when I see a game for cheap, like at Walmart, I'll look up its trade value at GameStop, and if it gets $1 or more, I'll buy it and trade it to GameStop and make a little extra credit of that. Like, that's an okay, reasonable way to make some profit. That's not destroying or doing something like sus, But then there's another thing, like just begging, like the people who like go on the street corner acting like they're homeless and then begging for money, and then after a day of getting free money again, they'll fucking go home and count whatever money they did. That's a really common scam that's existed for quite a while now. Where people, like, especially younger people, those younger people who just fucking, it's like an act to them, they dress up as homeless and they just sit out there and let the money get collected and shit. It's sad. It's very sad. It's very, very sad. And it just wounds trust. It wounds trust. It wounds faith. Don't lose faith in trying to help the world. I know it's hard. It's very hard to try and keep helping people, especially if you are a person who got scammed or screwed over and trying to do that. It's hard to make sure that things are being done right. And that's what people generally want with the completionists. They just want to know that it was being done right. They want to know that there was no fraud, that no money was stolen, things were done right, and up and that. And sadly, for that really to happen, an investigation has to happen, and it might have to go to court and stuff. That's just the sad truth. But, the completionists, instead of taking it as a challenge, would be like, okay, come, we don't got anything to hide. Come and investigate. We got nothing to hide. We have all the evidence. Ooh, excuse me. Ooh, pardon me. He's like, we have all the evidence and shit. And, if you do, cool. When the investigation happens, it's probably going to happen. Show them all that evidence of that. Get proven innocent. I'm not saying you shouldn't. But, if you get proven guilty and shit, I wouldn't cry to the internet and tell, keep this high and mighty kind of thing you're trying to do. That I guess that's kind of the thing I didn't like about the completionist's response. I get you want to be professional. It's a serious matter. I get wanting to be professional, but it came off as really aggressive and threatening at the end, especially personally from my point of view. That might not been purposeful, but it came off like that to me. What's your 2 cents on that? Did that sound kind of threatening to you? It seemed kind of threatening to me. I don't know, but yeah, I know it's hard to help the world when it feels like everyone is out to fucking use you and abuse you for what you can and provide them and stuff. So don't lose faith. Find a place that works for you when you give charity and that. I like I said, doing smaller things. Like helping individuals out and stuff. I kind of that's kind of how I view my charity. More on an individual basis and small community things myself. But that doesn't mean those things can't whip people off. I mean, there is, I don't know his name. I never watched anything, but I never, when it happened, there was this guy on Twitch. He faked being wheelbarrow bound in a wheelchair. He faked being a cripple in a wheelchair. And he spent ages collecting money and shit, pity money from people. And then he accidentally fucked up his break screen and got up on stream and he fucked it all up. The whole scam fell apart. And yeah, like I said, you just gotta be careful. That happens. It does happen. It does happen. It's happened to me. It's happened to you. I'm sure it happened to everyone, whether you know it or not know it. It sucks. But don't let that destroy your faith in trying to help people. It's basically my real message to you. Don't let it destroy your faith in trying to help people. If you feel like you can't trust anyone with money, find different ways to help. There's, assisting and what's the word? I don't know the technical term. It escapes my mind, but like where you give food to the homeless and stuff. Those activities that can help communities and stuff that don't solely involve you giving money. There's other ways to help the world if you feel like you can't trust anyone with money. There's different ways to help people, communities, and areas and that. And you just gotta find the way that works for you. A lot of people give money because it doesn't consume their time. Like going to a mess hall to give poor people food, that's time on myself to do that. And, some people that's okay, and other people have a busy life, and it's hard to do that. But, yeah, if you can't find someone to trust with money, find activities and things, or just, you can even give stuff, give food. Like, when I went to New York the first time, my dad told me very small advice. Don't give anyone money. Don't give anyone money. If somebody wants food, say you'll buy them food, and if they walk away, they only wanted money for booze or something. They didn't want food. And yeah, I agree with that logic, I think that was a smart tip my dad told me when I went to New York, Because, I had people who'd be like, can I have some money? Or like, what do you need? And they're like, I need to go to the payphone and make a call. I was like, okay, let's go to the payphone. That I put the money in it, and he just walks away. Called out, bitch. But yeah, and you wouldn't believe how many people were fucking begging for money and shit in New York. It's really sad because you feel bad, but at the same time, you just don't know who you can trust. I mean, like, second time I went to New York, waiting for the bus. This guy in like a hospital gown kind of thing comes up to me. He has the hospital band around his thing. He say he just got out of the hospital, needs some money to get home and that. And I told him at the moment I didn't have any money on me, like a lot. I didn't have a lot of spare money on me or something like that. So, and I wasn't getting on the bus. I was just waiting for somebody to actually arrive from the bus. So, I think I just said I didn't have money. Now, I was going to wait and see what happened. Because if they genuinely seemed like they needed help, then I was going to say, like, you know what, actually, I trust you or something like that. But you know what happened? Bus got here, got on, dumped money in a thing, bus left. Yeah. You see what I mean? I can't blame people for having a lot of distrust. It's just sad. But even with all that kind of stuff, I try to still have faith in my own way of helping people, I don't very willingly give money to blanket charities very easily. Because I have lost a lot of faith in a lot of them. But that's not to say there isn't anything I don't give some money towards. Do research and understand who you're giving money to. Find the people you want to give money to or give your time to. That is the important message in this. But with the completionist, welcome to the investigation. Show them all your case. Like, if you're truly innocent, if this is all truly a horrible misunderstanding of mistakes and blunderance, show them everything. Explain everything. And hopefully they just give you a little slap on the hand in that scenario. But if it turns out that you were doing underhanded shit, then, fess up. Pay the piper or that. So, but with that, I think I've rambled on long enough. Quick end thing. I am doing a lot of editing again. I mentioned this in the previous video that I basically decided I'm going to work on the videos I'm trying to do for some Christmas-related things this year. So, as much as it's a shame, because I did really want to get some reviews done for this year, I think I'm going to focus on trying to get those projects done and get reviews for January set up of that. So, hopefully I'll get that. So basically, today after this video, I'm going to be spending a ton of time trying to micromanage between editing and doing chore stuff. Like, I'm going to cook some meatballs today for dinner that I usually like cooking them for a long time. I'm setting the sauce, absorb the sauce, become one with the sauce. So that's going to be a good amount of time I can mess around with the editing while I let that cook over and stuff. But yeah, I'm going to try and get a whole bunch of editing and stuff done today. So it is what it is. So these are both, basically, to give more context, these are both things I want to do for some people that I consider very dear people to me. So you can say they're gifts. So shh, keep it to yourself. But so, yeah, to me, it's very important to get them done on time is the thing. And, yeah, that's why I'm sacrificing. Oh, I can do a little bit of a, But, yeah, so I'm sorry about that for anyone waiting for some reviews. I apologize. It wasn't planned. Especially the second project I'm doing right now. That was completely unplanned. It was originally only one project, but now I'm doing two main projects. I got involved kind of in a half project too, but that was a really short one. But yeah, so anyway though, thank you everyone for watching. Let me know your opinions on the completionist situation. Keep it civil, keep it civilized. That's all I ask, keep it civilized. And what you think about charities. How do you go about deciding who to give money to with charities? How do you handle charity and helping the needy? How do you go about that? Leave your thoughts down below, and if you feel like you learned anything interesting, feel free to leave a like. And if you feel like this was a worthless, pointless video, feel free to leave a dislike. You're free. Like I said, I didn't want this necessarily just to be like some kind of hate video, because I mean, if you look up the Completionist, it's just mountains of people burying him and stuff. And like I said, it's pretty easy to probably guess my 2 cents on that. I'm not necessarily keeping it a secret, but I'm not trying to make that the main draw or that I'm the judge, jury, and executioner. If that makes any sense. I'm being fair. Because I'm a believer in, being proven guilty. And not like the high court of fucking Twitter. Like I said, I'll admit, with the Pro Jared thing, I made a horrible mistake that I just believed his wife and thought ill of him. I'll admit that. I made that mistake. I said sorry for it. And, I still check out Pro Jared stuff here and there. Not as much as I used to, because it's became a lot more live streaming and a little less making like individual videos and stuff, reviews and things. He does a lot more live streamy things, and he has like a newer series he's been doing where he like looks back in the past, like certain years and what games came out of that. That's kind of an interesting idea, to be fair. But, I lived through that era. I think that's more interesting for like younger people now that didn't live through those eras. For me, I lived through that. So it's not as interesting to me. But yeah. I'm trying to leave fairness here. I'm trying to not be the judge, executioner, and joy in that, So I hope those who are on the the bandwagons for the two different sides, hopefully you're understanding of that. We'll see in time. It's highly doubtful that this is not to get investigated at this point. It's very likely it will be. Whether anything will come up in whose favor, who knows. But time will tell. Anyway, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for checking out. I hope you look forward to January. And I hope you look forward to seeing the videos that we made for gifts this year. So, take it easy. I'll see you all next Monday with some other video. be talking about something. Like I said, I'm still trying to make sure to put something out here. It's just not something it's going to take a bunch of editing, just a sit here talkie type video. I try not to do those ton, but yeah. Anyway, though, take it easy. Thank you for joining, and take it easy out there on the proving ground. You never know what's out there in the wild, vast land